Well, King Arthur Pendragon 5.2, The Great Pendragon Campaign, Episode 39. I am your storyteller, your narrator, APGamingREAL, the AP in the APGamingREAL, joined by BigSpoon as Kendric of Pitton, who is the correct age. Glimo as Kyned of Laverton, for if he can hold on to it. And GrimDarkJames as Gwgan of Shrewton for all but, 2 episodes, I think. I don't. That got you, right. Spoon? That's the one?
Yeah.
That's the one?
Owain died so quickly that, Gwgan's basically James's starting character.
Wow. Absolutely uncouth behavior here on all of our parts, especially me, but also you. What happened last time in episode 38? We had a courtly affair. We've learned that Cornwall is advancing north, although in this case, north is sort of easterly north, into county of Yagant, where old Roman influences meet new Saxony influences as the Gwesi press from the east, and Prince Mark and the rest of the Cornwallian Britannians. What do you call people from Brittany? I'm slowing down. I'm losing power. We got to get through this.
French. We call them French.
They're from Northwest French. They're not technically Franks or Normans. They're neither of those things. There are rumors from Lady Eleanor of Vespera that peasants and serfs are pretending to be knights that they have killed and are planning to overthrow the nobility. And we witness the rise of the knighthood of Sir Joffrey the Swift, a former knight-errant who has been given manse and lands, domains really, within the county. And we learned that Sir Kendric is planning a tournament, a local one, East Salisbury, West Silchester. Everybody who's anybody is going to be invited.
Gamble you with all your fucking money.
Not anymore, bro. I'm poor.
He's doing this thing where he converts money into glory, and it's a pretty sick process. But it does mean that you are without money. And now you have a plan to form together the Knights of the Order of the Axe in order to stop 3 rogue knights who have overtaken County Ridichan. As we come to a field of honor, where many knights of your houses have been assembled, men-at-arms, perhaps even your peasants, we'll know more in a second. I sometimes relate parables or situations in the only way that I can, which is from my own life experiences. So for some of you, this might be things that you've seen coworkers do, but for me, it will always be firmly entrenched as things that college students do. And Sir Seath and Dame Erwin arriving at this field slightly separately enough to hide the fact that they basically came here together, but not so separately that everybody isn't completely sure that these two are. And again, they're not married. There's been no talk of unifying the bloodlines or their houses coming together. These two are just fucking around, quite literally and figuratively, philosophically, emotionally. Just truly, The order has fallen on hard times when these two are represented. Don't let me paint the order with this brush. You're also joined by Sir Gwent, who is much changed after his discussions at the feast with Sir Leo. And, as always, it's Hayden, who is having a rough time of it. Hayden, we haven't seen a lot of Hayden recently, but the last few times we saw him, people were dunking on him pretty much constantly, and that really hasn't ended. Hayden is undergoing a period of being in the 1%, but not feeling like he's getting the respect that the 1% deserve. Because he has the ability to burn your lands down. I believe that we established you are being escorted by a knight, Sir Paul, of the manor Cheverel Magna, who is a somewhat skilled hunter, tracker, a knight who knows the area, and he will be helping escort you northeast to Ridichan. The question now is, who's in charge of this operation? Kendric has nominally taken command, but I don't know that he has or that you want to be in overall command of this. You know what I mean? Like, I've always thought you were kind of the guy that did things rather than the guy that led.
Yeah, and like I think with Kendrick's past, with commanding forces, I think he would come to Sir Gwgan, and say, my experience with command has been less than stellar, shall we say. Would you be the overall commander of this force, Sir Regan?
I mean, my leadership experience is, I mean, I have some. I certainly, if we need a leader and there's none other, then I will take that if you say that I should. But you know, any past misdeeds are surely not outweighed by lack of experience.
I do okay. Okay,
Well,
being a 14 on a 20.
Yeah. I think we're all basically almost identical as far as battle scores.
I'm 15 for battle.
Yeah, I am as well.
All right, so I'll just fuck off in the back like usual.
Well, I think if we get into
unless I can bring my intrigue in on top of the battle.
I'm going to be straightforward with you. The Great Pendragon campaign has a subsection that literally outrightly states that things like getting into a castle by like bribing a gate guard is a flat intrigue roll. Like, there's no question that if you have the money and the intrigue to back it, that is how you use intrigue to get around having to destroy the smallest castles are like 8 DV, which is bad. That it's a +8 to the roll of the defender. Like, that's the smallest castle possible. A Mott and Bailey is a +8 to the roll. It's not good. Intrigue is definitely a way around that. So just know, Kyned, you may not have to lead this, but you may be the one that finds the path.
Can I?
I was thinking about you, bro. I was thinking about your strats.
Or can we get some sappers?
The idea of sapper has not even remotely been invented.
I would happily skulk my way in, but I would ask whether I could. No, I probably can't. The thing I would want to do would be to do this on my personal honor, but I feel like that what I'm doing is not honorable.
Sorry?
oh, that's a good
Walk me through this.
I just talked myself out of it.
Okay. I think that if what you're saying is like skulking and finding a way into these castles isn't honorable, I think that helping it depends on your intentions, right? If your intention is to reseat a landed noble of an allied county,
I feel so. Okay, this was the thing that I was gonna do until I talked myself out of it.
because last time you talked yourself out of loaning people money, it ended up becoming a major plot point.
Yes.
So I'm gonna let you cook, but you walk me through it. Okay.
All right, Kyned is gonna do this in a different way.
You tell me what. I'm not gonna hold you to this if you want to back out at some point. Just talk us.
No, so I was going, min-maxing. I was gonna go honor, but I can't talk myself that this is honorable.
Okay.
But I can talk myself into that this is to serve the Countess.
Oh yeah.
Because the Countess asked me to help her sister out So I would like to test Loyalty Lord.
But for what purpose?
When we get to the intrigue point to try and sneak into the castle.
We're
Yes.
not even remotely at that point.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We're not
Okay.
even remotely there yet. Right now, we're figuring out who we're even bringing, because how many knights you bring and how many men at arms and how many, if you want to raise your serfs, that'll be hugely disruptive to your economy, but it's going to give you a hell of a lot more people. But on top of all this, we haven't really had to do this before. This is a campaign. You're going to have to feed these people along the way. And normally it would just be like the local lords of the land would feed you along the way, right? Or the king in charge of the battle would deal with this for you. You're in charge, and the local lands are trying to murder you. So
You tell me, guys.
acquiring resources.
Are we going full show of force, or are we going sneaky?
Well, I almost
think
feel like we need to meet with the Countess of, or the Duchess, sorry, of Winnechan first. Like, first we need to get an impression of what, do we have any partisan forces that will join ours? What's her plan? I don't know. We can just rock up and lay siege to one of her castles, even though she is deposed, without first involving her.
I mean, she flat out told us she'll give us a castle if we win.
She didn't technically tell you guys that.
Yeah, that's like advertised. That's advertised fact as such. Yeah.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, AP, but this is basically like an open call.
Yes.
She's going, hey, anyone who can do this gets this.
Correct. If you want to go and talk to her and figure out what the situation is, you barely even know who you're facing right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She may have information on the usurpers.
Yeah, she may know about things
castles.
Like Sally ports or the like, that may be unknown to the people holding it currently.
I think this is a good. Yeah, so let's.
Good on you, James.
Yeah. But I think getting back to the scene, I think Sir Kendric will say, I will maintain overall command, but I wish for the two of you to be, if depending on how many forces we have, to be battalion commanders. And if you feel that if there's an opportunity, or if my command is lacking, to step up and take the initiative. I don't want you to follow something that may lead to the deaths of either you or your forces due to my lack of foresight.
You are better on the battlefield, but perhaps I can help find alternatives.
Anything that would keep us from having to engage in an open field would be preferable.
Totally agree.
Let's go and find out what we are dealing with first, though.
Yes.
So is it just the Knights of the Order of the Axe traveling to find the Countess?
Yeah.
I think plus our squires, our regular entourage.
Right. Yeah, of course. Your, like
The
extra
regular crew.
forces. Yeah. I just didn't know if you were like bringing anyone more, or rejecting people, for instance, like if there's someone you didn't want to bring.
I don't think Sir Paul is with us at this point, but he can be if you want him to be. But
if you want him to be, he'll be here. If not, he's going to start gathering supplies in not Silchester, Castle Vagon.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You set out with your squires. Seath, Erwin, Gwent, Hayden, and you travel for some time, several days, to the northeast. You quickly get word that the following castles have been occupied. Oxford, of course, no surprise, given that it is the seat of the county to some extent. Wallingford and Sheerburn, and that the Countess has retreated to Uffington, which is a small town at the top of several hills near a vale. And in fact, it is somewhat well regarded as a sort of Celtic, sort of pagan mystical site. At the top, there is a white horse carved into the stone of the mountain, representing the horse of Epona, the Celtic goddess of horses. That would later go on to become a pretty sick song for the Legend of Zelda soundtrack.
So are we traveling through the lands of Ridichan to reach?
So Uffington is the southwestmost point of Ridichan. If you don't want to travel through those lands, you don't have to. You can basically just hop the border.
I'm more interested in actually traveling through some lands just to try and do a vibe check on just like the peasantry to see. Like, was she universally hated? You know, do they think the usurpers are in the wrong? Like, what is the general sort of feeling of the populace towards this situation? Other than the fact they're probably annoyed that they're losing out on food and support, etc. Although they're probably not being taxed, but at the same time.
Interesting. I don't know if there's a role you want to attach to this. I don't know that one's necessary, but if there's a role you'd like to shoot at this.
I could see.
Would you like me to roll intrigue?
Yeah, intrigue is what I can think of.
Yeah,
awareness potentially, just in terms of like reading like the language that's going on without actually like eavesdropping, just sort of getting a feel for how people are.
I mean, to some extent, right? Like you don't have to roll about this, but what people outrightly tell foreign knights traveling through their lands is not the same thing that you're going to get with some subtlety.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it wasn't about freaking walking up and asking people. It was about like just listening to the cush conversations as we sort of walk through.
Right, but I think you know as a boss that discussions change when the boss comes by.
Unless we have like some camp followers attached to our group that hang around afterwards, you know.
That's an interesting thought. I absolutely think if you guys don't chase them away, you would gather a small group of unemployed peasantry who are specialists in small jobs who are willing to do it.
Yeah, they buy food in places that we've traveled through, for example. You know, they port, etc. You know, they're just. I'm sure.
Horses.
And what they're guaranteed is, I mean, probably they're people that are just coming from point A to point B, but they have the safety of the caravan while traveling from point A to point B, and so therefore they trade in and out.
I think that they're led by a man named Kern, who, unlike the rest of them, wears a jaunty, Robin Hood cap with a feather in his hat to indicate his level of authority. They're not like together, but they're all traveling in the same direction. And when they notice that you're going that way as well, they offer their services for like washing and like helping pack up and basically making life easier for your squires for just some small coin, and offer protection, and they'll watch at night for you, that sort of deal. They're very interested because they recognize Sir Kyned's colors. Your heraldry is not unknown to them, because it is well known that Sir Kyned has sent minstrels up and down the road, and in fact, many times, several years of this, and your stories have spread. The tales of Sir Kendric are also not unknown to them, but they would not recognize his banner. Of course, they're just mere peasants. Sir Kendric doesn't send people dancing around wearing tabards, you know what I mean? But when they hear that it's Sir Kendric, they're like, the mad wolf, yes. The young wolf is with us. We shall be protected on our travels.
I just said, did you see that Tony Todd passed away the other day?
I don't know who that is.
He was most famous for playing the Candyman in the Candyman horror movies.
Yep.
But he did a lot of horror work with a lot of sort of major like Wes Craven, etc. But he also played Kern, son of Moog, in Star Trek, who's Worf's brother.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's the one where they gaslight him into thinking that he's a member of Gowron's house or whatever. No, the general. Martok. They're like, you are the son of Martok now. Damn, Deep Space Nine did some real cool stuff with the Klingons. And then you never hear about them again in a later series.
Oh yeah, it was the black sheep of the Star Trek family.
I mean, they just can't get away from these fucking Romulans is all I'm saying.
It's a fake.
That was when they were cool, man. That was when they were cool. That whole episode is fucking top shit.
Fucking
Under the Pale Moonlight.
11 of 10.
Yeah, easily the best episode in that entire series. Yeah, so Kern has a sort of down low of what's going on in Ridichan, but all he's getting is what he's heard from other people. There are 3 brothers who have established themselves as the new sovereign rulers. They do not recognize the Countess's authority because she is a woman, and they are they call themselves the 3 brave brothers bold. They are Sir Beige, Sir Bellis, and Sir Basile. So they have set themselves up in 3 cities of some import. Let me see if I can. That's not working. Ta-da! Did that work?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so they have set themselves up in 3 cities of some import.
Oh,
Oxford,
nice.
Wallington, and Sherburne, which form a sort of triangle like this. So originally, the Countess had retreated to Dorchester, but as Dorchester falls within their triangle of evil, as it's being called, she retreated to Uffington, where she was somewhat safer. These 3 brothers are idle landlords. They are content to hold themselves up in their castles and send out the very occasional patrol to shake people down for pretty light taxes, honestly. So the people are enjoying the fact that the brothers show up kind of unscheduled and will be like, we want food. And that's basically all they ask for, right? Like, these brothers apparently have no need to pay taxes upwardly, and they aren't intent on improving society or maintaining the roads or anything like that. So they aren't demanding labor. They aren't upkeeping anything. All they want is enough food to keep on living and maybe some entertainment and stuff like that. So honestly, things are going pretty well in County Ridichan for the people who live there. All the areas surrounding it are somewhat more stable than it internally. So it's not like Saxons are about to roll through the area. It's a sort of unique experience of a destabilizing chauvinistic anarchy. Kern is just like, I have to say, my lords, I'm not thrilled to. We just have to pass through Oxford. You know, there's a new school there. They call it a university. I understand they have one somewhere near Paris. It's supposed to be very fancy, this Oxford University. There's the man they call the young scholar. All I know is that when members of the church and members of the nobility need a lot of disparate resources, you know, paper, ink, someone has to fluff their pillows for them, sew their clothes, clean them all. It's work. Originally, I would have loved to go there with my people, but it would seem we must go farther afield, further to the north. Oxford is not safe if these brigands have taken over. Who is rightfully in charge? These men, the Countess, her son, her young son. These are not our affairs. Clearly, violence will happen there, and I do not wish to be caught in it. I hope you understand that we are just but humble peasant folk, not bound to any one land.
How many people does Kern have with him?
I would say 6.
6. Okay. Well, Kern, hopefully the strife in this land will be solved soon. And the rightful rulers can get back to ruling.
Ah, but let me ask you, good Sir Kendric, how can there be a rightful ruler if there is not a rightful king? Does not our society flow from the top down in a sort of triangular structure? Chain of loyalties, but if there is no pillar at the top, how can we connect ourselves to God above?
Well, God gives us our king. When there is no king, it is a test of God to see how we will fare when unguided until a new king is shown. Listen to your faith, it will tell you the right way to act here. Do you think that...
Right you are, my lord. Listen to your heart when it's calling for you. I agree. You have corrected just I apologize for my silliness. You, of course, know much better than I these such matters. Is it obsequious?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good descriptor of this guy.
You, Sir Gwgan, are of course correct in these matters. I am but a humble caravaneer in search of work. I could not possibly argue with a learned man who can write and read like yourself.
I didn't mean to argue. I was simply answering your question. In any case,
He has an uneasy smile on his face that I can't replicate, where he's like unsure of how to proceed on his face.
Anyway, let's proceed to Uffington.
Okay. You continue on your way to Uffington. You travel over the beautiful white horse of Uffington that looks down upon the Vale. It is a small but historical city, even town might be too much here, that has clear Roman influence about it. It may not have like a strong wall surrounding it, but it has the foundations of a layout to it that are grid-like in nature, that it's been almost 100 years, right? Like, things have overflown from it, but this clearly was once a fort that has become now a small village, large village, small town, and it is no difficulty at all to find the Countess Ridichan. There are other bands like your own, small numbers of knights who have come without attendants like yourselves, who are just kind of milling about. It looks like they are dividing themselves into almost mercenary bands. Like, they want to be hired to do things. You see 3 such bands that are surrounding the banners of either a knight of banneret lord rank or higher. But none of these bands number more than 10 men in them. And many of these knights appear to be unlanded overall, just knights errant or knights who are essentially killers.
Have you actually seen the Uffington White Horse?
I've seen a picture of it from above.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Where it's just trenches carved into the chalk.
Yeah.
To make the outline of a horse. Yeah.
I mean, it's considered a national treasure, right? And it's a heritage site.
Yeah, it's certainly part of the National Heritage Association anyway. Yeah.
You guys really like carving stuff, like cliffs in Dover or horses in the mountains.
Well, when I was in the UK last time, we wanted to go to Stonehenge, and like, all the historical sites have a fee to get in. But you can just join the Historical Society and the fee's waived and you get free parking. And it's like, if you're going to go to like anywhere in the country, you may as well just join because it's cheaper than going to, paying for parking. And
I see
Intriguing.
you've met the colonial triangle, yes.
Shall we go find the Countess?
Yep.
According to this document, the Countess is an attractive woman. Some might even say thick. In her late 30s, you have heard that she has survived 2 husbands, and her court is quite meager here. She's attended, of course, by her eldest daughter and youngest son, who are her 2 children. And in the way that someone who has had lots of money and then lost access to it, there's a sort of fraying at the seams, both figuratively and literally, of her possessions, her clothes, her shoes, the cloaks of her and her children and the men who attend her. But there is that sort of faded, like, yes, we have been a year without, so in some cases, I guess, several years without the full support of the people around here. But you can tell that this is someone who was once quite wealthy. Who is going with you to this meeting? Is it the 3 of you?
I think so.
What about Gwent and the other
Gwen
members
is
of the Order of the
actually
Axe?
interested in speaking to several apothecarius and also inquiring about a strange local order of monks. So let's explain it as Gwent, I suppose. He's like, I now want to imagine he's like Gambit. He's always just like fiddling with stuff in his hands.
Like shuffling some cards.
That's his new idol animation. It's just him shuffling cards. But yeah, he says, Oxford, Abingdon, and Dorchester. These 3 cities have quite a strong religious structure. A few years ago, a monk by the name of Sir Benedict has set up an order of black-robed monks who follow a slightly different religious order than the Roman Church, or the British Church for that matter. They have established themselves as a middle ground between zeal and logic. These Benedictine monks. I would hope that I could learn more about them. Perhaps they could be some sort of... The church has eyes that can go places that we cannot.
Well, I won't pretend to know the intricacies of the Christian faith, but what you say is true, I take it.
So you see, again, drawing on some movie knowledge, the mummy, the guy who has all of the holy symbols,
Benny?
that's Gwent right now. It's like, he primarily confesses to being a Christian, of course, but as someone who has to fight witches and giants at the edge of a swamp, and has been secretly dabbling in magic, he kind of needs whatever blessings he can get to ward off problems. So yeah, he goes through his holy symbols and he finds the cross and he's just like, yes, I speak the truth in the name of the Christian Lord, the one God.
But Benedictine monks are unpopular with the church because they believe that because Christ was poor, the church should be poor.
Yes.
So they're the monks that
so they're
live
majorly
in,
unpopular.
They live in rough spun, and they
Yeah, they're called the Black Order. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just getting started around this time period. Benedictine is still alive.
Yeah, more information. Watch Name the
Benedict
Rose.
is still alive. Yeah.
Name the Rose. Great movie. Great book.
Gwent is going undercover among their ranks.
He's gonna
Anyone
come
else?
back with an Occidental haircut. You know. So.
I think it would be hard for him to pass as a knight if he has one of those.
Probably have helmets.
Oh, that is true. That is true. All right, so we've discovered the side story we're doing. Gwent back in the habit.
Who wants to lead the conversation with the Countess? I mean, obviously, there's the 3 of us, but I suppose we need to explain our reasons for being here.
Well, I believe, Sir Gwgan, you are the most glorious of us.
I will
Unless-
see if we can get an audience, the three of us, with the Countess.
An
So is it
immediate
Countess
audience.
or a Duchess?
She is a countess of a
Countess,
county.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You also have the most experience dealing with countesses. I think he like you
Hold
know.
on. Do you say that out loud?
Only if it's the three of us together, like
Okay.
in a quiet jest.
Wow.
Yes. I'm very familiar. Intimately, you might say.
The three of you are granted immediate audience, and you can see that the Countess is not seated in like a court where one would receive like guests and have parties or have tea and idle conversation. But this room has instead been converted to something like a map room, closer to what one would use to dispatch messengers and ready themselves for battle. Whereas she is still dressed in traditional courtly garb, her son has taken on a sort of militaristic cant, although he is quite young. And she appears to be using her own daughter as a lady-in-waiting. The guards show you in and announce Sir Gwgan, Sir Kendric, and Sir Kyned. And she says, "Ah, yes, Sir Gwgan, I have heard about you from my good friend, the Countess Ellen. I understand that you are also a good friend to her."
Yes, greetings, my lady. Thank you. That is true. The Countess has sent us here to see if we can render aid to you in your current situation. As neighbors, it's important to Salisbury and to Countess Ellen herself that Ridderchan is strong, is able, and is in the right hands.
Of course.
And so,
yes, so if she sent her finest knight, as she tells me, you must have brought quite a force behind you.
we've bought only what was required to get us here initially, because we needed to talk to you before we muster our full forces to ensure that we deploy them most effectively.
I take it my messengers did not reach the Countess then.
No, my
we
lady.
knew of the issue, but
It is a dangerous time on the roads near here, especially for those who display loyalty to me, rather than to these brigands.
When did you send them?
Months ago.
and the nature of their message.
A request for aid, direct military action. I needed whatever knights could come in the spring. I suppose if it's just the three of you...
I mean, you may not know of our order, but we have some more knights with us. But we are a force, not an army right now. But an army can be raised. So at this point, the only forces that you have are the ones we see here. Is that correct?
Even the forces here are not all loyal to me. There are at least 3 distinct bands of knights who have come forward hoping to claim my reward of a castle, but they have not themselves settled in on a course of action. They are too few in number. And I must add, I do not have the greatest faith in their esprit de corps.
What can you tell us about the Oxford usurpers?
Yes, or the 3 brave brothers, as they call themselves, Sir Beige, Bellius, and Basile. They were useless. They were knights without lands. My husband did not deal with them in goodly time. And they claim that because Count Bledry had not dealt with them when he called for aid under the banner of the king, they claim that because they were not freeholding barons underneath the traditional laws of Logres, they were not required to answer. Since they didn't have land. A ill interpretation of the laws of Logres, but my husband was not in a position to challenge them. They lived in the woods and formed hunting bands and basically stole from the king to some extent, but it was never so bad as someone was sent to root them out. They claim now that because my husband did not take them to task, it is a tacit approval of their position. And they claim that because I am a woman, I cannot lead this county underneath the old laws of Logris. And so they now are the true rulers of this county.
Are these men actual brothers, or is it simply a title?
They are actual blood brothers, although they are ill alike.
Is there any historical blood claim that they would have? Are they related to your line or any
None.
formal line of British? No. So they simply declared controlled by force then.
Yes. But in these times where allies are few to come by from surrounding lands, I did not have the force of arms to fight them off. Many of our knights died at the infamous feast.
Are there any men that were loyal to you that have turned to these men? I mean,
The
knights,
guards you have seen outside are the last remainers of my loyal knights. My accounting of those who have turned their coats are almost 50. 50 of my knights and some more of their own beside, and many soldiers saw the change of power and simply kept their gear and kept their post and just changed their cloak, as it were.
If those men could be shamed into returning to the light, would you accept them back, or has their treachery burned them forever in your eyes?
She gives you a long glance and says, "My understanding, Sir Gwgan, and I hope you do not take this as a reproach, is that you are someone who is intimately familiar with the sinful price of treachery. So know that if I give my word here, that if I do not intend to kill these men, should they return back into the fold, I fully intend, in the name of God, to keep it. I will not then later have them killed and executed for their treasons. If, before they battle with whatever forces I have arrayed, they come quietly back, they will be accepted in peace."
Very well.
What can you tell us?
Go ahead.
What can you tell us about the castles themselves? Sally ports, hidden doors, other ways that one might get inside short of a long siege.
Sherburn and Wallingford, such things do not exist. They are both Mott and Bailey keeps. Ditches, outer walls, inner stone towers, well defended. No real immediate ways in. Oxford is quite different. It is large stone keep with several shells about it. Stone towers, a bailey over a bridge. It does have a sally port that is known. And there is a secret entrance by which I fled. I hope you would understand that I am loath to part with the knowledge of its location.
Do you believe that those you fled from would have discovered it when you fled?
It is cleverly hidden. So, given that these are not clever men, no, I do not think its location has been betrayed.
I assume, by the way, that the three brothers...
We're here on the word of your closest friend. If you were going to share this information with anyone, would it not be us?
Understand that this is a secret that has been carried through generations. If I were to betray it to you, who is to say that you would not accidentally pass it on to others, or that those who or called into your service would not pass it on. They could easily become a threat to my grandchildren or my great-grandchildren, people down the line, and I will not sell my future.
You have no future if we do not restore you.
There has to be a rule associated with that.
What would you have?
I believe this really skirts the line of courtesy for sure. I almost wonder if this is a reckless roll, though.
I thought, well,
You got something?
I was gonna say it definitely could be a check in reckless because that was.
Okay, I'll buy that. Let's put a check in reckless and make a courtesy roll. How about that?
Does it have to be courtesy? I mean,
Yeah, because you were being kind of discourteous, bro.
I think Kendric has kind
how
of.
about?
Yeah, I know you're gonna try to talk yourself out of it. Sure, give me your shot.
No.
Give me your best shot.
How about orate instead of courtesy?
Who are you orating to? Orate is towards a group of people.
I mean, I
Are
feel
you trying to
like
convince her children?
no. I felt like I was trying to convince her, but okay, fine. I'll do courtesy and fail.
Don't you believe in the heart of the cards?
No, I
Sir
don't.
Gwent comes to mind as he's shuffling the cards. The tower reversed.
Yeah, I think while this conversation is happening, Kendric has kind of been distractedly looking at the map, and because he's planning a campaign in his head,
Sure.
and then when Sir Kyned says this, his head snaps up, and he goes, "Oh man, we shouldn't have done that."
Go ahead. Let's make this roll.
Can I talk you into that in Kyned's mind, he is
Falconry? In the words of Brennan Lee Mulligan, does the fact that a hawk is helping you with open hawk surgery strain credulity?
I mean, I'm
How bad is your courtesy?
It's a 6.
Oh no.
He's walking around a 6. He's trying his best to get around
Hey,
it.
then this is completely in character.
I mean, so can I talk you into that? Kyned believes that he is doing this on behalf of Countess Ellen.
Yeah. You don't need to talk me into that.
So can I impassion Loyalty Lord for
Yeah.
this courtesy roll?
We've established that she sent you here. Yeah.
Okay. So
Now, when you bomb this roll,
I fumble.
Oh, a 20! It's a fumble, and it's a 16 as well. Things just went from bad to worst.
Yeah,
Literally
I
the
think
worst.
that means I
outcome.
go mad, right? Or melancholy.
Hold on. It's out of combat, so it'll be a little different. But yeah, let's take a look at the chart here. See just how bad it is. Okay, this is a famous passion. You fumble, you go mad for 1d6 plus 5 days, and you lose 1 point of passion.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah.
Kyned, you say the words and you want to stop talking, but you can't. It's just the most frustrated rant of a spy master who's trying to convince this damn woman, I know what's best here. You don't understand what you're talking about. Countess, if we could just go in the back door, we could kill this guy in the middle of the night. She's looking at you with shock and horror, rising from her chair. How dare you speak to me like this? And you're like, how dare you speak? We are the only help that you have. You must recognize that now. You're like throwing stuff around the room, just walking in a circle. The son is like interposing himself between you and his mom. The daughter is horrified. Guards rush in and drag you out as you're ready. You're like, I know what to do. You have to listen to me. You have to listen. She's just like, get him out of here. Get him out of here. And take the rest of them with him. And we're going to go on break right now. So,
What a. It's time
you know,
to go
Glimo,
on
what I
break,
really
baby.
appreciate is that you bring the highly emotional moments to this. Oh, we'll be
I'm
back.
just glad it's not me for once.
Dude, it's always me.
He could have just rolled for a 6 and just gotten a bad courtesy roll, but he had to really make it so much worse.
I mean, it would have been a fumble either way.
Okay, that is true. I feel like fumbling
'cause
a
that was-
courtesy roll and fumbling a passion madness roll. I mean, you're locked in right now for 1d6 plus 5 days. You are locked in. Oh, we'll be back in about 5 minutes to see how that's going to work for the group. It's a good time to be good because the 10-minute music just ended. We return at the right time. Sir Kyned, you continue to be dragged away, but this fury that I don't want to call you a spy, but someone who intimately understands political court workings like yourself, to be ignored in this matter that you have unique knowledge and capability of, to ignore a sally point which would allow you perhaps not instantaneous access, but surely it would reduce casualties among whoever had to assault the location.
Mm-hmm.
You are foaming at the mouth in rage.
For 8 days.
I think you're only mad. You're melancholy after. You're mad initially, then you're melancholy for the 8 days after that, aren't you?
I think it says madness for 1d6 plus 5 days, not melancholy. He's
Yeah,
an
because it's
Alden, bro.
a famous passion.
Fumble. It's a fumble, not a fail.
Yeah, on a famous passion.
Yep, he is a madness, not melancholy. No, he's not depressed about this. He's still mad about it. Hey, I fully get this part. People not listening to you when you know what you're talking about, I fully understand this part, being enraged. I've probably had 8 days of rage over something like this. I get it. Kendric, Gwgan, you are unkindly escorted out of the meeting area, and it is clear that some measure of disrespect has been afforded to the Countess that will not be forgotten. Now, to be clear, these things happen with knights. Sometimes they get passionate and shit like this happens. No one's surprised that something like this happens, but that doesn't excuse it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Well, I think that what do we need to do? Do we need to calm Kyned down then, or
Does he just run off into the woods?
I mean, I think the well, that's up to AP, but
It's like madness. GM controls my character.
I don't think that you lose control. I do think that it is just mouthing and grousing and like a stubborn refusal to leave Uffington until you're heard. You know what I mean? Like, you know what's best. Look, you've done customer support before. I don't need to over describe the mood you're in right now.
so I think that once we've
I become king of the Karens.
Oh my god. Yeah, sure.
I think once we've given Kyned some hot milk and put him to bed,
Oh
then
boy.
I would like to pen a letter to this Countess apologizing for our brother's outburst on behalf of Salisbury. You know, speaking in this case as the Castellan or Seneschal. Which one? am I?
Seneschal. I thought
Seneschal.
You
Seneschal,
are,
that's
hold
it, yeah.
on. You're the nephew of the Seneschal, just to be clear.
No. She
I thought your
appointed me.
aunt was the Seneschal.
no, she just does all the work.
I got the
Oh, I
appointment.
see.
She actually does the work. That's the thing.
I
Yeah. So yeah. And just explaining that obviously, we are so passionate about following our Lord's guidelines that it overtook our brother. The remaining two of us would like to, if given permission, continue the conversation and won't delve into such topics again. So it's just basically an apology and would you be willing to see us again type thing so we can conclude the conversation and get on with the business of getting your castles back.
I think also we should send a party back to Salisbury to begin raising our forces.
Yeah.
And marching on Radichin.
I just think, first off, we might want to work out what our strategy's going to be based on a couple of other questions I still have to ask.
Okay, so other things have happened while you've been away. Gwent returns and informs you that the local orders of monks, that the monks from Abingdon Abbey and the monks from Dorchester are aligned and allied, but they're not the same order. They both follow the Black Monk philosophy, the Benedictine philosophy, but they do it in different ways, and they seem to display a different level of loyalty towards the Countess and the local invaders. With that said, these monks on close inspection, they are all male, and they don't get involved in politics, but they are a patriarchal order. So it's no surprise that they...
Yeah, that they don't support
if they
the Countess.
favored anybody, it would be... Plus, their taxes are a lot lower under the new regime. Yeah. With that said, he has learned that Sir Basile, the knight who is holding Wallingford, has claimed to have been cursed by a witch. Now, it's a very specific curse. Sir Basile is sort of carnivorous man. It's well known that he likes to eat lots of meats, and he claims that a witch cursed him recently with a curse that will cause his gums to bleed, his teeth to fall out, and his old wounds to reopen, unless he should partake of the fruits of the vine and the fronds of the land.
So he's got scurvy.
He's got scurvy. We know that, but none of your characters, I should think, have enough chirurgery to understand, and also none of you are sailors. But yes, he has scurvy. But a witch told him that this was a curse. Okay, can you?
Australia had its first case of scurvy recently. It's like first in a long time case of scurvy.
I was going to say, it definitely is not the first case of scurvy.
It made news here that some guys moved to hospital with scurvy. So.
0% chance that that's the first case of scurvy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yes, James. I did set up a scurvy plot line. Thank you for seeing through that. Next time I'll be even more obtuse so that no one understands what I'm talking about. But yes, he has scurvy, and there is a witch nearby that he claims has given him the scurvy, and that she has secret knowledge about him.
So have I ever told you my story about diagnosing evisceration?
Can we share it on Twitch?
It's fine. It's not bad. It's when I was doing like a first aid course many years ago, they gave us this booklet that had a bunch of injuries or a bunch of illnesses, injuries, etc. Like a 2-page spread for each one. It started off with like what were the symptoms of it, and then what are the treatments of it, basically. And as the book went on, it went from like really light stuff to more serious stuff. And the second to last page, the injury was evisceration. And when you looked at the symptoms of evisceration, yes, of course, the first one was the presence of abdominal organs outside the abdomen, but the second one was anxiety, and the third one was cold, clammy skin. So I always joke, like, if someone was like trapped and I couldn't see their abdomen, but they seemed anxious, that I should, worry that they could be eviscerated, where I can't see because they're displaying other symptoms. So.
If they're trapped somewhere and eviscerated, they have a whole lot more worries than having anxiety as a symptom.
Yep.
So, Sir Beige, who is the knight that is holding the castle of Sherburn, has a habit of inviting those who would like to besiege him into a parley and then having a philosophical debate. And he has said that he will abandon his post at the castle and take his men with him if someone can convince him of the rightness of their cause. But if they can't convince him of the rightness of the cause, he will break their littlest finger on their left hand. And so far, he has broken the littlest finger on the left hand of 3 men who have come. But several have come forward, including one Benedictine monk, in an attempt to convince him of the rightness of the cause of the Countess. And Sir Bellius is the eldest brother who has taken Oxford. And he is the one who collects what he calls the tithe, which of course is not the correct terminology. The tithe is a religious term, but he calls the collections a tithe. And of course it doesn't happen once a year. It basically happens every few weeks whenever he runs low on supplies. He sends some of his knights out, never more than 5, and some riders with them to collect supplies from the nearby villages, towns, thorps, hamlets, forests. He also seems to have gathered himself a small contingent of poachers who have been sort of legalized. Since there is no king, no one can punish these men, and they have become expert trackers and archers for him. That's what Gwent brings back for you.
Sorry, Bay specifically wanted to be convinced, not convinced of anything, it's convinced specifically of the
rightness of the rule of the Countess.
Okay, no worries.
Over his own claim, which is that might makes right.
Yeah.
Sir Seath and Dame Erwin come back with a list of like local watering holes and their various appetizers and food offerings. And Sir Hayden comes back with an accounting of the local bands of mercenary knights. Not technically, you know, they're not men that are mercenaries, but they're knights who are available for hire. I think mercenary in this era really connotates, you know, a guy with light armor and a lot of weapons who kills people for money. And these are full knights in full armor with horses who kill people for money.
Yeah, they're mercenary knights.
Sure. He has been to the 3 bands of the mercenary knights, Sir Hayden, and has spoken with them.
What did you find out, Sir Hayden?
Sir Hayden, he says, well, I must say I'm not particularly enamored with any of them. It is fortunate that the banners that they have chosen are so straightforward because there is so much heraldry involved in each of these knights. They have simply chosen red, green, and blue to represent their bands. The bands of the Hawk, Snake, and Rabbit. I can't say why they have chosen these names, but they are knights from afar. Many of them are from the north, although the band of the Snake is from knights from London. From what I can tell, I did not speak with them long, but they seem like they are not well thought of there. And of course, London is a tent city now. There is rumored that the Saxons will take it any day. What with this new talk of uniting a Saxon High King. These men have been out of work and landless, and so these vipers have come here.
And the other 2 bands?
The band of the Hawk and the band of the Rabbit, the red and the green. I do not have much to say about them. They are noble men. Their sword arms are strong, but their services are for sale, which should tell you all you need to know about them. Not that, and he turns towards you, knowing that you recently sold several of your knights into service for the Cornwall problem. He says, not that I have any problem with that, but these men are awfully eager to be involved in conflicts far from home. You know, I would think that a noble knight who followed God might spend more time at home with their family, defending their own lands, rather than trying to conquer others.
And these men may not have lands, which is why they've come to this woman's aid, because they seek to gain the property that she offers.
Hayden pauses when you say that, as if he literally had never considered that.
What are their numbers, Hayden? Sir
There
Hayden.
are 10 or fewer for each of them.
Hmm.
Now, with that said, they have gathered quite a following of followers, you know. Men who might be able to take up a pike or some sort of pitchfork. Camp followers and the like. Vultures and
Levies.
scavengers.
And what did you happen to hear what price they're asking?
I did not ask them for such a price.
Very well.
I am not the most senior among this order, and I had not wanted to make any offers. I spoke with them as men do.
You've done well.
I've done my duty. And when he says that, he turns to look at Seath and Erwin, who are just kind of like, no, you stop. No, you stop. And Erwin's like, no, you stop.
So I can see a few different approaches forward. One would be to have our people or hired people simply raid the lands, enough so that the brothers need to come out and take action to defend, or else lose the populace. I mean, these men are traditionally lazy, which is usually associated as well with cowardice. They may choose to simply stay in the safety of their walls, but the populace will soon turn against them. Hard to do, though, if it's obvious that the ones that are raiding them are also the ones that are then later coming to try and liberate if we want to get the populace on our side. There is a possibility of trying to treat with each of the three. We could simply state something along the lines of, we will allow one of them to live if this goes to war, and so therefore the first one to turn on his brothers will be the one that has the highest chance of surviving. Try and make them turn against each other. I mean, we could try, at least with the first two we discussed, to try and resolve their individual matters, quests, so to speak. Try and remove them. I mean, the one that's cursed by a witch, we can simply wait until he dies of his malady. But if his reason for control is not contested, we may simply find that another puppet stands up to take place under the same pretenses if they're not challenged. Any thoughts, Kendric?
I agree that raiding the lands is not going to be our best option, because theoretically one of us we will all have to manage a holding in these lands after we've returned them to the Countess, and it would not, or it would be easier to do so if the people did not hate us. We have decent knowledge of the enemy's numbers. We could raise our forces, come out with a slightly outnumbered force, draw them out, and then try and catch them in a battle in which we outnumber them.
We think they'll come out, though? It sounds like, instead, if they are lazy, cowardly men.
I think if they think they outnumber us, and they, might see it as an easy victory, and we, hide part of our force where they cannot see it, and then once they've mustered a force to oppose us, attack with all of our might. Alternatively, one of them, has welcomed philosophical challenge. Perhaps there are other ways to challenge them. Either, draw him out with the philosophical challenge. There's no promise of safety. And then once he arrives, break his fingers, take him captive.
I feel like he would want to resolve this, in the safety of his own environment.
Probably. But then we're on the inside of the castle.
Mm.
I don't know. I think without if Kyned can come around, I think he's our best way to get into these castles. But otherwise, I think we need to raise an army. Yes, he's like, you just hear him in the background going like, fucking. Yeah, it just like fades in from camera right out to camera left, and then just outside the tent.
It will take time to raise forces anyway, so Kyned will come around,
and then if Kyned can get us access to the castles, then we just storm the castle through whatever gate Kyned can convince someone inside to open.
I'm reticent about asking the Countess again. I feel that particular line of inquiry has become exhausted now based upon...
I think it's best to ask forgiveness rather than permission, and we just do the thing and come to her with results, and that will earn her forgiveness.
Yeah.
Somewhere out there, Merlin, approaching India, goes, I sense a philosophical conundrum in the breeze.
Kendric steps out of the tent and looks for Seath and Erwin.
Yeah, Seath and Erwin are nearby, just like polishing their weapons.
Is that a euphemism?
No, quite literal. I know it sounds crazy, James, but sometimes a man and a woman do have to make sure their killing weapons are capable of killing.
Sir Seath, Dame Erwin, I have a task for you.
Right, so Erwin immediately goes to her feet. Seath is like still polishing his weapon, and then is like, oh shit, I guess I should go to my feet expression, and then he goes to his feet as well, but his sword is half out of the sheath now, and he's like trying to get it back in there. Erwin is just rolling her eyes.
In the morning, I want you to ride back for Salisbury and begin mustering our forces to ride to Radichin.
Which forces are we mustering?
For my own part, all of my household knights, save for Sir Selwyn, and then all of my men at arms. As for the others, I'll have to speak with Sir Gwgan, and I will let you know before you leave.
You will prepare to depart immediately, Erwin says as she begins moving to get her squire to prepare her things.
And Kendric will duck back in the tent and ask Sir Gwgan,
yes,
what do you have any forces that you wish to muster? I'm sending Seath and Erwin back to begin the process.
All right, well, I guess that's the question is what... Because I think she said that there were like 30 men, knights that turned...
50.
50. I think it was like 50 total, and then they had a few of their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
and
probably, I think they were somewhere in the range of like 60 knights.
Yeah, and they also are in castles. Like I don't think we can muster an army that will match that on the field of battle.
Yeah, but those 60 knights are split up between 3 castles.
Yeah.
So if my thoughts and like I don't know if we have like a map of the area or not, but
You have the exact map that's on your right in front of you on the
so
screen. And it should be noted that this map is not particularly accurate to the local British countryside.
So I think we want to deal with Wallingford first. Oh, that's not a. Here, let me change my color. Ah,
Yeah. I mean, Wallingford was the one where there was the philosophical debate to be had, wasn't there not?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll deal with Wallingford first.
Sorry, no, that's Sir Beige is at Sherborne.
Sure. Okay.
Wallingford is the one who's been cursed by a witch.
Okay.
And I think we leave a small group here at the ford as an early warning system in case the
That's
people
not a
at
river, that's a road.
No, that's the River Thames, dude. Yes, it is. Because there are no roads here except for this little like trail. Because this is where we originally wanted to come into the Forest Sauvage, and we were going to follow the river up.
I'm going to rely on James for this because I looked at the real map of what the area looks like now, and I was like, look at that distinct road. That must be a road.
No,
Because I could see a road that very clearly follows that all the way to London via GPS. But if you say that that's the river, I shall be forced to believe you, James.
I do say so.
Okay. Then sure, you can send a blocking force to the river.
And I don't even know if we want it to be a. Oh, I mean, I guess depending on how many people we bring, it could be a blocking force or just like a couple people on horseback to.
I mean, a couple of people
warn
on
us.
horseback screaming is a pretty good block when you don't have anything else.
Yeah, sure. And then we either like assault Wallingford or draw them out into a field battle if they are so inclined. If not, we lay in for a siege, or perhaps Sir Kyned will have overcome his anger with the Countess.
You're barely an hour into an 8-day rage. He's at the point where the initial adrenaline rush is still ongoing.
Sir Kendric like tilts his head and can hear Kyned on the other side of the camp just shouting. Like, I don't think he's coming around anytime soon, but
should we use the time between now and when our forces arrive to go and treat with these men and see if sense can prevail?
My gut says no. These are dishonorable men. They did not answer the muster of King Uther. They, given everything that the Countess has said of them, I don't know that I would trust anything that they said. I don't even think it's worth the one that wants to be convinced that the Countess's claim is rightful. I think that's a trap.
Just to be clear, he's done it under parley with very clear conditions.
Yeah.
But yes, it could.
But then he breaks the finger of
right.
someone.
But that's part of the parley agreement before they go in. Now maybe he just likes breaking people's pinky fingers, and it's like, I'm going to trap you in a debate you can't win, and then break your finger.
Yeah, because he can just go. He just goes, "No, you're wrong." Snap.
Pretty sure I saw a scene just like that in The Last Kingdom, but it was a little bit more final.
Yeah, my German friend is a close student of the law. I mean, if I won't stop you, Sir Gwgan, but I would not counsel it.
I mean, is it possible to find out AP whether these are Christian men?
They are Christian men, yes. They have ties to Abingdon Abbey and Dorchester, where the Benedictines are.
Yet he still broke the picky finger of a monk.
He did. But that was the agreement beforehand, yes.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I don't want backsass from a guy that went into a fucking abbey and murdered a woman. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't say do what I do. I said do what I say.
Yeah, I understand, James. Well, Glimo, I'm sorry. I really wanted this to be a big splashy episode. I didn't realize
It's my fault. I rolled a 20.
I don't think it's anybody's fault. That's the way the dice roll. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
All right. Well, let's begin mustering forces. So I will then. So what? How much of your forces are you going to bring?
I'm bringing basically everybody but one.
Okay.
Now, how much is that? Like
So that is
how many household knights and how many men at arms?
so it would be, I think I have 7 knights.
Okay, so 6 because you're leaving Selwyn behind.
Yeah. And then I have 7 men at arms.
Okay.
Are you raising levies?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, raising levies.
Yep.
This is a huge move for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have several manors under your control, right?
I do.
You can raise levies from each of them. So you could potentially bring hundreds, if not thousands, of men to the field.
Hundreds upon thousands.
I said hundreds, if not thousands.
If not thousands. Oh,
Yes.
I just said hundreds upon thousands of men. I was like, how many guys do you think I have?
But there will be huge economic backlash.
Yeah, no, I think I'll just do one manor levy.
Okay. How much is your original manor's levy worth?
56.
Okay.
But I will say that was my original manor. My original manor has grown twice since then. So I've
I'll
gotten
give
an
you the option if you
200
want to
people.
roll for it.
Sure.
And if the result is higher, you can take the higher amount.
Oh, I was thinking just like add like a 2d10.
I mean, who knows, right? Your people could be more invested in local agriculture and less able to answer to the fields.
So what is that? What is that total? So what was it, like 3d20 or 4d20?
Oh, for the initial manoring?
Yeah. Let's see.
Character creation. This is the thing everybody loves, right?
Yeah.
Us silently looking up.
It's spreadsheets.
That is true. People do love spreadsheets.
Siblings living or dead.
Your levy is 5d20.
So no, so it is 56.
Okay.
Sorry, dude. I stole the 20.
No worries.
I will also bring all but one knight. And
How many knights is that?
That's an extra 6. Plus my lineage men, which is an extra 11.
That's
and
huge.
I will raise the levies of Shrewton and the estate that I was given as Gwgan. So Gwgan's estate and then Owain's original estate, but not the other estates that I hold.
Okay, so
that
you're
will be
raising 2 levies worth?
Yeah, which would be 76 men.
It technically says right here in the book that you have to roll for additional manor levies. You don't just double the number.
I've got that because I've got them recorded
Oh,
from
okay.
both.
So 76 men. All right, got it. Understood. Need?
is Kyned able to do anything?
Yeah, there's nothing stopping you from riding home and calling people to war. In fact, I would have to say you probably are deeply impassioned on bringing more of your men here to assert your authority.
$5d20 for the second manor.
Yes.
I guess I'm gonna lean into his crazy and say that he's gonna bring everyone he possibly can. So 45 guys on the second manor, plus 56, plus. All right, so hold on. So 45 from the second manor, plus 56 from the primary manor, plus 15 lineage men, plus 5 family knights. So I'm bringing 120.
What about household knights and men-at-arms?
That included that.
So-
how many of each of them?
Sorry. So 45 plus 56, so 101 levy, 15 lineage, and 5 family knights.
Big. Okay. Okay, Gwent cannot. He has literally no one to spare because he watches the walls of the witches and giants. And he actually doesn't have any family to send in the first place. He is, of course, raising tons of bastards, which drains all of his money. But they also die fairly regularly. It's very sad. James, you know Hayden better than me?
Yep.
Is there anyone Hayden would like to call upon?
Well, effectively, he's part of my family.
Yes, okay.
My household knights are, the same ones as his, basically. So
Seath and
they're not
Erwin are
additive.
both new knights who have no one to call upon. They need to reassemble their families. You can always call upon Sir Paul as well.
Yeah, I think that would be included in
Okay.
in this is Sir Paul coming with us.
You have no idea what Sir Paul's forces are, but you do know that he spent some time gathering supplies as well. Now, my understanding is that Gwgan is taking overall command of this army.
It was offered. I think did you refuse, James, or no?
I didn't so much refuse as say, like, only if you can't find someone better.
Okay. I think Kendric is maintaining command then.
I would like you to make a battle roll
Okay.
at -5 to assemble the
Okay.
supplies in this area. This is just basically like a logistical roll. Now,
Sure.
before you make the roll,
Mhm.
you could have people give you +5s if they have a skill that they think, like hunting or something along those lines, to help gather more supplies.
Okay. Does anybody want to chip in?
I think the only skill I might have might be or rate to try and convince local farmers to give us additional supplies that we might need.
I think getting the locals behind the cause is definitely would be a pretty big swing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because people nearby are kind of tepid about it.
Yeah.
Before you make the roll, I'm curious what your
Pitch is?
Yeah, what's your pitch is? Give me your elevator pitch to the local farmers as to why they should care about this.
I would say that I think knowing Gwgan, it's going to be a bit of fire and brimstone from the point of view that Britain has fallen upon hard times since the death of the king, and God continues to test us. We need to prove to the Lord that we are capable of carrying His kingdom forward. and that can't happen while usurpers disrupt the natural order. You know that the God through the king put in place the peerage and the noblesse oblige, and these men have forsaken it, and only Doom and poor Portent will come to Ridichan until the kingdom is put to rights.
Okay, make your roll.
All right. Before I do that, I'm just thinking, based upon that particular orate, whether I try to impassion with Love God. It's not very high, but I think by the same token, it's not high enough that it would be. Only if I fumble, it would be particularly bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try rolling Love of God to go along with this. Okay, so I succeed in Love of God.
It's not just that you love God, it's also that God loves you.
That's it.
In Soviet Russia.
No, that's pretty much exactly how it works in the Bible. You don't have to be Soviet.
Yep.
Okay, with a 16 out of 20, that's a success.
Yep, that would have been a failure too if I hadn't loved God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your particular faith is not unknown to people. I mean, you are, of course, most known by your most heinous crime, but
yep.
You are also a well-known knight and a religious knight at that. And I wouldn't say you're scholarly, but you're not unlearned. And it is known to these local people. And you remind them of their duties and obligations. Several days later, you receive a letter from the Countess indicating that in you, she will invest low and high justice. As there is no king, she will allow you as a deputy sheriff. She will allow you to administer low and high justice in her county so long as you are following through on this quest.
Yeah.
She also indicates in her letter that no matter what happens here, she owes you a favor.
Yes, is that for Sir Gwgan?
Yes, Gwgan in particular. Definitely not Kyned.
Definitely not Kyned.
Tend to kind of favour that all counters Zodiac Wigan.
Wow.
Gwgan, is there anything you'd like to do to prepare the local lands to receive your armies and allow them to march through?
No, I think that what I've just described
I said
there.
Gwgan, I meant Kyned.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like Kyned is insane and probably can't.
I don't think you're insane. I just think you're I'm taking Matt in the literal, like,
Okay.
You're just super pissed off. You know how to do this thing correctly, and this person will not use your expertise, and it is enraging. But I don't think you're, like, running around, tossing your clothes around, like, screaming at the top of your lungs, covering yourself in human filth. Like, You're just really upset.
You're just an engineer dealing with sales.
Wow. James. Let's move on, okay? Now I'm getting impassioned. More like an engineer dealing with marketing. You can't say that, please. Our product doesn't do that. You can't say that.
Hey, when I had a recent interview recently, and someone asked me what product management meant to me, and I said product management is really managing egos and expectations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of a good way that I could bring this to intrigue, but I can't think of one. So I will.
I think if you look, it's not unreasonable to guess that these guys have, I don't want to say criminal context, but ne'er-do-wells, bullies in the local villages that keep people in line. You know what I mean? Like, they need a local representative, if not a mayor, at these places to make sure the food comes through.
Yeah,
And if you want to, I hate to get too redcoatish here, but if you want to pull a turn on them and start flipping people left and right, I think an intrigue would be appropriate. The failure on it would be very bad, though. You know, like you end up getting tricked by them.
I think that Kyned is definitely seeing red and is going to, well, I'll show her what I can do, and goddamn the consequences if I fumble again.
Yeah, I'm gonna be straightforward here. If you fumble, you're gonna go absolutely berserk. Oh my god, you still failed. Unreal. At least it wasn't a fumble. Yeah, you start spreading out messengers like a octopus. You start spreading tendrils. Sherburne, Wallingford, Oxford, Dorchester, Abingdon. The people you send don't come back.
I can't buy a roll tonight. Holy shit. I rolled my 2 highest skills tonight and failed both of them.
You have this convoluted plan to begin playing local village leaders off of each other, calling upon ancient Roman influence. There's even like, you learn that someone outside Sherburne is like a Saxon, and you're calling upon their peculiar culture to get involved. You've got this great plan all piled up like a bunch of cards, and then no one comes back. You literally receive no word except that some travelers say that those people have been hung outside the villages. It's a rough time. It's a rough time. It's also a time to take a break. And when we return, we'll find out just how prepared for a siege Sir Kendric is with the battle roll at completely canceled
+5.
out. Well, Gwgan cancels out the -5, so it's at a 0.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, because you had a -5.
Yes.
Gwgan brought it back.
So we're at standard skill.
Standard. It's a standard roll, and we'll
Sounds
find
like
out more.
passion.
I mean, I would never
Do I
stop someone
dare.
from wanting to do an insane passion. All right, Spoon, let me lay out some thoughts for you.
Let's hear 'em.
On a critical success, you will not only feed this army through your first siege, no problem. You'll also be able to construct a siege weapon of some kind, whether you
Probably a
want that to
battering ram.
be a battering ram or a trebuchet, which may be available at this time. I think maybe a catapult, but
Mangonel.
Mangonel, yeah.
Is that before the trebuchet? Yes. Yes,
Yes.
it is. Yeah.
Trebuchet is like a late medieval period siege weapon.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that you really
yeah.
want them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You just really want trebuchets. But anyway, you'll have a siege weapon of your choice to help penetrate through castle walls. On a
Okay.
success, you'll feed the army enough to get them into County Ridichan and prepare yourself to move on one of the castles. On a failure, it's going to be tough times. It's not that anyone's going to starve, but half rations does things to a man. On
Sure.
a fumble, the supply train will be attacked on the way up and will be scattered, and we will do the battle from the point of view of your knights who are being scattered and attacked.
Okay.
Do you want to impassion?
Um,
Do you want to pray to the one true Christian Lord, or to your pagan faith, or maybe to the dice gods, or to roll 20?
I think he would passion with loyalty Order of the Axe.
Oh, interesting. This is all right. This is a choice.
Siege weapon joke in chat.
Which chat?
Like the
Discord.
cast chat, yeah.
Wow. It's a baby catapult. Wow.
Successfully impassioned.
Okay, so +5.
Yep. Which brings
You
me
would hate to
a-
fail the men and women around you who are answering your knight's call.
I would hate to fail.
That call is clarion.
Yes.
2 is very good out of 20. Your people will arrive in a few days with the full supplies that you require in order to prepare yourself to move on one of these castles. So we're talking like if you want to sit outside somebody's castle, you've probably got like a month's worth of supply. Okay. And there's nothing stopping you from going hunting to gather more or buy more, but all those things cost time and activity and money that you aren't otherwise sieging with.
Right. How many knights or people did Sir Paul bring with him?
Okay, so Sir Paul has brought a contingent of knights on behalf of your Lord Baron Will. Mm-hmm. So he has brought with him 30 knights and no men-at-arms. He has simply brought 30 knights and with them a number of squires to take care of them. The bigger deal is, as we know, Baron Will is really in that logistical state of mind. And so he has prepared several salted beefs and salted porks that would normally go to a sort of maritime, like sailors and such, are instead being diverted to your cause. So it's going to be terrible tasting, and it's going to take hours of putting it in water in order to get all the frickin' salt out. But you're not going to starve.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we have some fruit too, so we don't get scurvy?
I mean, look, when I set up this curse, I studied the British countryside extensively, and it's basically impossible for someone who eats a few berries and a few green plants in Britain to get scurvy. You would have to be someone who only eats meat. So I base this character off of my 6-year-old self. That was right about the time that I watched the Land Before Time movie with the Australian Velociraptor who sang the egg song.
So I think we march on Wallingford first.
Wallingford. Very well. You move to surround Wallingford Castle with its motte and bailey keep. There are 10 knights here and 25 soldiers, and a banner that proclaims itself to be under the command of Sir Basile. And he sends out a messenger to parley with whoever is commanding this army.
I think, by the way, we would be, don't get me wrong here, we'd be having obvious banners of Salisbury, just so it's clear to our opponents that the Countess has allies.
Okay.
Unless you see an issue with that, Spoon.
No, that's identify ourselves, make sure these guys know who's coming to kick their ass.
Sir Paul insists that the Baron Wheel's banner be placed underneath the Countess's banner.
Yes, of course. Of course. We display any banners that wish to be displayed in proper order of importance.
Of course.
Wait a sensible shit against Castellan? I remember.
I don't know the order of the court, but I do know a baron beats a regular knight for sure. Your courtly officerness does not change the sonority of your glory
title.
Or your title. Yes. Okay. Would you like to treat with this parlay, or do you just want to turn them away and enter into a siege?
We'll treat with this parlay.
Okay. So here's the question. Are you just gathering outside, or are you fully setting up for a siege before you take the parlay? Like, is it obvious you're settling in for a long-term?
Yeah, I think like people will be setting up camp and,
we're sending our blocking force to the river, etc., etc., etc.
Okay. A messenger comes out. He appears to be like a veteran sergeant.
Okay.
He even, honestly, given his armor, he looks like he probably was a Roman soldier not too many years ago.
Okay.
And probably someone who settled here after, you know how it is in the Roman army. You're giving me weird eyes, but you know how it is in the Roman army.
Soldier.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, Rome
Yeah,
only
yeah.
fell
Well,
less than a decade ago.
yes.
Plenty of Roman soldiers were just like, I used to be stationed somewhere. I'm
Mhm.
gonna go retire there. There's plenty
Yeah,
of
yeah.
land, and if anyone
Yes.
messes with me, I'll kill them. So he comes out and he says in pretty good local language, I am here to represent the Baron. Ignore my French accent. It should be Latin, but I don't have a good Italian.
That is fine.
Just do this a lot.
I'm not going to talk with my hands, Sir Gwgan.
You represent the Baron?
Yes, they are all barons now. Baron Basil, Baron Beige, and Baron Bellius. And Bellius is, of course, proclaiming himself also the true master of this county.
Yeah,
They are
well,
all freeholding barons underneath the old laws.
underneath the old laws. Well, barring the egregious they can't be barons under the old laws because there is no king that made them barons. But that aside, what does the Baron
The
say?
Baron wishes to know who has come to his front door to engage him in this contest of trials, and to invite the commander of this army to a feast tonight in their honor.
Hmm.
Are
Well,
you
you
then the commander of this army?
I am indeed.
Would you perchance like to attend a feast that is being held in your honor?
I would not. You can tell the Baron
Yes?
that we will accept his surrender, and that should he surrender and return these lands to their rightful ruler, the Countess of Redichin, may God have mercy on his soul. And a message to you.
No, hold on. Wait. I just want to make sure that I understand your message. That if he returns the lands to you, that you will wish that God has mercy on his soul.
Indeed.
Okay, just making sure I understand that you are offering nothing then.
Well, I don't have the right of justice in these lands. So if he resists, I will kill him. Should he surrender?
Okay. Your position is now more clearly understood.
Yes.
The Countess has said that any who return to her fold will not be punished or put to death. What was it she said? She wouldn't.
She said they could just return their service.
Okay, return to service. Yeah.
Wow, what an interesting thing to say. I will make sure that all the men of the castle hear that.
Somebody will.
He gives you a glare when you say that.
Does he have soldiers with him?
He does
he
not.
have people with him? It's just him.
He's approached alone.
Are you loyal to these men? I mean, you look like a soldier, someone who has served before, under, I assume, good Roman officers. Are these men good officers? Is it honorable serving these men?
I found that the honor of a knight is very different than the honor of a soldier. It's very easy to ride around on a horse like an officer and attack the plebeians, It's very different to be down in the dirt with the heavy infantry, to walk with the legions rather than to ride upon a horse.
And I think
if you are asking me if these are honorable men that I serve, I would ask you, what is the value of honor?
I think Kendric gestures to like his baggage train, which is, properly supplied, full of food for everyone. And he'll say, I asked you if they were good officers. I asked you if they were good soldiers. Are they good leaders?
I would like you to make an orate roll.
Okay.
Fumbling this would be bad.
Yeah. Let's see.
Not as bad as if Kyned had fumbled the entry, but bad.
Could I talk you into a +5 for my record of serving in battles and my obvious success at organizing this siege and having a properly supplied army.
I think the properly supplied army is just letting you run this. I will give you that you do have a past history as a battle commander, so I'll let you take the +5.
Okay.
I feel like you're shooting me in the foot on this one though, because that probably puts you over 20.
It does not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my aura rate is not great.
Okay.
I fail.
You see that this guy is wavering when you are basically seducing him into your service.
Mhm.
But he's looking around and he's like, these walls are strong. If you come, you come. I will send your message of murder and terror to the one who runs this castle, the Baron. I will say this. The Baron greatly desires for a local witch to be dealt with so that his curse may be relieved. And he is willing to grant special audience to any who bring him back proof of her death. Now, he's saying this to you, but he's saying it in a loud voice so that everyone in your camp can hear it, sort of deal. Now, just to be clear, all your men are loyal enough to not be like, ooh, boy, killing a witch! I'm gonna go run off into the forest right now and find her!
Yeah.
That's not something your forces need to worry about here. Now, if you'd failed the supply roll, it might be a different matter. But
Right.
no one here is more adventurous than sensible. So, as long as you don't want to attack this Roman messenger, this Latine, he will withdraw.
Before, did he introduce himself?
Did not.
I will ask him, what is your name before you withdraw?
Fabius.
Good luck, Fabius. I hope you survive the battles.
May I say one last thing before you go, sir?
Yes.
I know that you obviously would not know all your countrymen, but many years ago we fought alongside a praetor Zagreus. At
I have
the
heard of this
direction
man.
at the direction of the king's son at the time, we were forced to abandon him on the continent in battle. I rarely see Romans, but I know that you were not a part of this, but I simply wanted to offer my apologies to the countrymen of a man who I respected greatly.
Didn't respect him enough to ride out to save him, I think. But there are more Romans in these lands than you might think. I have heard that many of my brothers have been called to ride to the Earl of Yagant. He has called old Roman ties there. Someone must stand a wall against invading barbarians from the south.
Well, my shame is such that I will never not apologize to a Roman for what we did to Zagreus and the orders of our prince.
Well, I cannot speak for all of Rome. I think that perhaps no one can speak for Rome now, but you need no apologies from me. That man that you speak of, he has, rage has driven his steps in the time since then, and he has fallen far from honor.
It's sad to hear.
He rides on the continent now, little more than the barbarians he once put down. But what can I say?
Barbarians, Kyned's just in the back. All right, when do we start killing?
So yeah, so just to be clear, he considers all of you barbarians as well. Or as we know, barbarians, a Roman term for non-Romans, which includes you.
Yep. It's like heathen, Christian term for non-Christian.
Wild. I do love the idea that in the background, Kyned is just absolutely losing his mind. All right, Fabius withdraws in order to spread your message and not tell anybody about the Countess's offer.
Yeah. But I do think, I'll say this to Kyned, I think that we need to get the Countess's offer to as many people as we can. If, I don't know, what opportunity you have to. I mean, I assume at some point that peasants can come and go from the castle to bring in food, etc., which will be stopping. But if we let anyone through, they should carry this information with them.
You sure you don't want to just throw a few diseased corpses over the walls?
Some
no, but we could shoot some messages on arrows over the walls.
I was thinking you might want to just go full Emperor of Mankind, Warhammer 40k right off the start, and just commit serious war crime atrocities.
I'm going to look up to war crimes.
Look, in the current year, the concept of war crimes doesn't exist. So
Yeah. I think that it was the right decision to not treat with them, because I think the problem they have is that acknowledging the legitimacy of our position of being here under the Countess by default diminishes their position as women can't rule. So they need to see us as for them, they would need to see us as an illegitimate army anyway.
I mean, I think that invitation was a trap. They would have drugged our wine.
no, just to be clear,
drugged our
it was
food.
not an invitation for many people. It was an invitation for one.
Correct. Or they would have just tried to overwhelm me and take me prisoner and ransom me back.
That would be dishonorable of a knight, a baron of the old ways, surely.
Yeah. It's the old ways.
Yeah. Look, to these guys, the sheriff is the highest law enforcement position in the land.
Yeah. They claimed that because they weren't freeholding barons from the king, they didn't have to answer the summons.
Yeah.
But yet now they've called themselves barons, which can only be made by the king.
Strange how things work like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like the victors write history.
So we settle in for a siege. Now, how? Because like we outnumber the garrison here by a pretty significant margin. Like, how difficult would an assault be?
I mean, it's still not going to be good,
Yeah.
but you will get a bonus for having over twice their men and probably having higher quality. Well,
I mean, wouldn't we normally we still get some time, because you want a situation where they have stored resources, but over time they need to start rationing. So
right.
you lay siege, you don't actually assault until their people start to become diminished.
Right.
So they have 10 knights and you think about 25 soldiers. You have 80 knights and men-at-arms and almost 250 soldiers. Well, levies, I guess, if you want to call them soldiers. I don't know. Do men-at-arms don't actually count as knights, right?
They're not knights. They're like they would be like mounted sergeants.
Yeah, they're trained soldiers. Yeah, trained and equipped soldiers.
So in actuality, you basically have double their knights and double their men-at-arms. And they don't have any levies at all, so you vastly outnumber them. But they have a pretty secure defensive position.
Yeah.
So the way it's going to go is when you roll battle, if they are behind the walls, they get a +8 to their battle roll. I mean, that's a big swing.
Yeah. I mean, they're defending a castle.
Is the battle roll affected by the other factors, like we have when we have more numbers and etc.?
Yep.
Yeah.
So what would my bonus be?
+8 is huge, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like that's the benefit of the castle. Like, what would my bonus to my battle roll be for?
I'm working my way down to that. I believe that the battle system's on page 230. But let's see here. You have less than 2,000 people, so it'd be a small battle. You outnumber the foe more than 2, but less than 5 to 1, which will give you a +5 modifier, and they will get a -5. So that's a 10 swing. That's not bad. They are in their own homeland, and you are in the enemy commander's homeland, so that's a -10 to you and a +10 to them. That's a big swing as well. So, I mean, they're automatically adding an 18 to all their rolls, -5. So they get a 13 on their roll as a bonus, and you get a -10 plus 5. So you get a -5.
I think we need to do more to in our favor. Like we need to spend time. I said things like trying to shoot messages over the wall or using trying messaging to try and get people to turn away from them.
Mm.
I mean, this isn't impossible to overcome, right? Like they're almost certainly going to critical the battle roll, and I think you're probably at like a 50-50 chance of succeeding, as long as you don't fumble. You'll bring them to the battlefield, and then when they take losses with only 10 knights and 25 men, any losses at all will be huge for them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like your losses will be massive. There's no way around it, right? Like even though you outnumber them, they have a strong defensive advantage. But once you engage in battle, it's done for them. Like they're cooked.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna lose a lot of guys though, unless you crit real good. Or as previously mentioned, Kyned could try to subvert the defenders using intrigue. Now, I'm really afraid to offer him a third chance. But any of these plans to send messages over the walls, to pay guys to open the gates, to pay defenders to flip, to try to find if they've made like a bolt hole exit that the Countess didn't know about, any of those could all be intrigue rolls if Kyned wants to step up to the battlefield here.
Yeah.
Although
we need you, Glimo.
you have 4 more days of madness. So
Gwgan, how many levies did you bring?
76.
76. Okay.
So here's the question: Does my madness affect my roll mechanically?
Well, I mean, the day should have passed by the time our forces have arrived here from Salisbury.
well, I said it was about 4 days for them, and he's mad in for 8, so he's still mad. He's still mad. I don't think so. I think that
Okay.
I mean you got mad over intrigue, so I don't think it affects that.
Actually, I got mad over orate.
Courtesy.
All right.
No, courtesy. Wasn't it courtesy?
Oh, it was,
courtesy was 6?
Yeah, it was going to be courtesy, but I went mad on my loyalty lord.
Yeah.
Which was going to affect my courtesy roll.
I mean, we don't need to we don't need to assault day 1. We can wait until Kyned has calmed down.
Sure.
I'm happy to if I've got a little coin to spread around, and if anyone wants to throw a little coin at me to spread around, I'm happy to.
Would you like say?
Where's my Libra page?
10 Libra?
10 is like a massive amount, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge amount of money.
Like,
And actually, AP, I think we do outnumber them
5 to 1.
1.
I agree. I saw you doing math.
Yeah.
And with your levies, you definitely outnumber them 5 to 1.
Yes.
So you're looking at a 0 bonus on your battle. I'm pretty sure there is something in GPC about
They're
quality
also
level.
looking at a zero bonus. Because
Would
they're outnumbered at least 5 to 1. That's -10. They're in the homeland. That's +10.
they have the +8 for defense?
Yeah. So yeah. They get their standard +8.
And then you get what, a +10? Or you get a 0?
Yeah,
you get a 0, they get a
yeah.
+8. Yeah.
Yeah, because it
it's still
evens out
strongly
except for the
favors them,
castle.
but
Yes.
I mean, again, once they get engaged in battle, there's no exiting it. They're going to be locked in for several rounds, and then they're done.
Yeah, but I do think we need to try the.
if I put up 5 Libra, does that give me any bonus to my intrigue?
Yeah, I'll give you a +10.
Sorry, did we get a war machine in or not? Oh, a siege engine?
No, you
no,
didn't.
because
You
I
didn't get a
didn't
critical.
crit. So we're going on ladders.
I mean, you're offering an enormous amount of money to trick just. It only takes one guy to open a gate. You know what I mean? Like,
And that's game over.
yeah. Once you get dudes on horses inside your walls, there's really no pushing that back out. Not when hundreds of peasants armed with pitchforks, Knights of the Realm 2 style, will show up screaming, "Ah!" And a dude goes, "Archers, ho!" every time they go to fire. What a great game, Knights of the Realm 2. I haven't thought of it in a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
12 on a 20.
Did that plus 10 bonus push your intrigue past 20?
Yes.
How much past?
So I normally have a 16, so
Okay, so plus 10 is going to put you at plus 6. So that's actually an 18.
No, it's already worked out.
It's already
Look at it.
calculated.
Yeah, he rolled a 6 on the dice.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is suspicious.
I rolled a 6.
Yes, I see now. Yes. Okay. You have your choice of whatever day or night that you want to do this. You find that there is a traitor in the walls. Like you do this thing where like you walk around the outer walls at night where their archers are like sleeping or lazy. The mists cover you, and you have several conversations with a really lonely gate guard who's just like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my lord. I don't really want to be here. You know how it is, though. They're the only ones paying for my services in the local area, and the going rate's pretty good here. But if you're giving out 5 Libra to open the gate, whatever night you need, I'll open it up for you. As long as you know you're not going to trick me or kill me or something. I've heard that if a knight gives his word before God, they can't break it. Can you offer me that?"
I offer you my word. We open the gate and get the hell out, and we won't follow you.
"In my name, in the name of my father, Gideon Jr. and Gideon, I will serve you in this manner. I don't suppose you have need of a gate guard back at your gate, do you?"
Not this guy. I have proven unreliable. Would you like to hire me?
I'm pretty good at guarding gates. 100% of the gates I've guarded haven't ever been opened. I suppose that record's coming to a blemish soon.
I'll let you know.
You can go home and cry into all your money.
I mean, 5 Libra means he can literally live like a lord for 1 year. Okay.
Or live like a serf for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I mean, he is a serf. He's going to live like a serf for the
Right.
rest of it, but he's going to set it aside into something nice.
You should invest it.
Okay. What do you think investment looks like for a serf?
Turnips. They got to grow.
So your plan is for him to buy lots and lots of crops that he's going to have to end up giving a huge portion of to his lord anyway. It sounds like his lord's getting most of that money back on rebate.
They should be investing in futures, not the product
The
itself.
futures of turnips? Do they even have the concept of futures at this point? Now, assuredly, the East India Trading Company eventually will sell securities and futures, but now, in this time period, in this economy?
Listen, that's what
You got a short big turnip, all right?
what was the name of the merchant that we sent to on the pilgrimage? Gropsis. That's what Gropsis was getting into, but unfortunately,
You got in too deep.
yeah,
Big turnip took him out.
big turnip.
Just know one day Big Turnip will be replaced by Big Beet Sugar. And at that point, it's the end, all right?
All right, let's storm this castle and kill these guys.
Okay. I'll tell you what's going to happen. You and I are going to roll our initial battle roll, and then we're
Okay.
going to end the episode.
Okay.
And we're not going to tell the audience what these rolls look like. And we also need to tell the audience that we aren't going to have a new episode
This
until
year.
the new year. Yeah. So it's going to be a while. So it's going to be a hot second before they see us again. Is there any passions you'd like to call on? Or
Could I theoretically maintain my impassioned Order of the Axe for battle?
No.
Okay. I would like to recall upon my Order of the Axe passion.
okay.
That is a critical.
Great.
I don't like that.
Jesus.
That's not good for me.
These
That's
dudes are
very
getting
bad.
smoked.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good for me. Okay.
Plus 10, is it?
Yeah, it's plus 10.
I'm going to call upon my passion as well. I'm looking for a 16. It's plus 5.
Ooh, close.
He calls upon his love for his family, his brothers. You hear him bellow as the gates open. Your people begin flowing through. Horses form like the steamroll in and begin knocking over buildings. They begin rousing people in the middle of the night. Like they have some warning, right? Like it's not like you just show up. But the fact that the gates open really offsets this charge to be quite bad for them. People are waking, arming themselves, and this Baron comes to the walls and shouts, "For my brothers, for my family, for our legal rights under the old laws." And the people answer his call. Okay, so I have a 21 battle.
After your impassion,
Yes,
I have a 25 battle after my impassion.
I don't like that. I have a 10. Okay, don't tell. I accidentally told the audience what I got. Don't tell them what you got. I'm writing it down. All right. Let's see. Does that roll already include your bonus? I think so.
Yes, it already includes my modifiers.
Mine did not. Okay.
Well, but like the numbers are basically the same.
Right. Mine didn't include the plus 1 I have because I have 21.
Yeah.
So the actual number is 10, not 9. But is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Interesting. We stand on the precipice. I wouldn't say this is a great battle. It's a small battle. It's a skirmish, but
it is the first of many, or at least 3.
It's significant because you haven't taken any castles like this before. You've been part of sieging a castle and like storming in, but you've never had to command such a thing yourself. And so I would like to offer you.
If we win, I just need Kendric to go in and like burn the whole place down, so we can go back to the council and say, "Well, if we knew where the teleport was, this wouldn't have happened." But the only way to get it back was to raise it.
I would like to offer you a checkmark in Valorous.
Sure.
I think
checkmark in Valorous.
I would actually like to offer all of you a checkmark in Valorous. You're risking your lives for a very nominal ally. I don't think it would be correct to say she's treated you poorly, but surely your relationship with her is strained.
Yes.
I would like to decline that check mark for my character, just because I think that Gwgan was really hopeful of non-violent ways. Like, he's obviously happy to go with what Kendrick's side of the pond, but I don't think that he relishes being in battle, and he doesn't consider himself courageous for being here. He considers himself following orders.
Okay. Kyned, would you like to take your check mark, or would you like to equivocate?
Kyned will take his check mark.
Okay, there we go. Some people don't look a gift check mark in the mouth. All right. let's do outros. Offer everyone a chance to talk about their own streams. Spoon, I want to start with you, and if you'd like to talk to our Pendragon audience about your... By the time the next episode of Pendragon comes around, we'll be talking about episode 0 of Shadowrun, so maybe you'd like to introduce them to your Running the Shadows.
For sure. Yeah. So I am BigSpoon. I am a longtime cast member here on, I think I can say that, longtime cast member here on APGamingREAL channel.
Sure,
Not as long as others, but
you know,
been playing Sir Kendric. But come the new year, I will be GMing a Shadowrun 4th edition game for some fine folk here on the server. Cast TBD.
So
but
you can't actually say they're fine yet because you don't know.
Yeah, that's true. They could be real assholes, but
my quality level's masterwork, motherfucker. Legendary, some might say. Hey, I'm in the top 1% of YouTube broadcasters, I'll have you know.
Very nice.
The top 16,000 of YouTube broadcasters, for what that's worth, which is nothing.
No, I think the cast is going to shape up to be pretty good. We'll see what the Harvest Trials what we can winnow out of.
Mentioning them is forbidden.
But yeah, it's going to be a Shadowrun game set in the mid 2070s in the city of Denver. It's one of my favorite cities of Shadowrun because they've got 4 different nations coming together under a great dragon Ghostwalker.
I've heard of them. Fire, water, earth, air.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So it should be pretty fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Shadowrun is one of my all-time favorite settings. And I like the mechanics. There's something to be said for just rolling a huge handful of d6s. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Can I interest you in the Dragon Ball Z RPG where you can literally have a million d6 roll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me get a 5-gallon bucket or several 5-gallon buckets, and a little miniature kiddie pool to roll them in. But yeah, that's me. That's what I've got going on. I'm really looking forward to playing and running.
Glimo, what do you got? What's on your streams for the next 3 months?
I'm Glimo. One of my crafting groups, the Crafty Collective, is in the middle of a 100-hour stream. I'm hoping to participate tomorrow. Check me out on twitch.tv/Glimo and look up the Crafty Collective if you are looking for other makers that are doing cool things this weekend. But yeah, I'm hoping to do some pattern work for some costumes tomorrow.
GrimDarkJames. Any
streams?
GrimDarkJames. Oh, go ahead.
I hang around AP channel sometimes. The best place to catch me is probably on his Sengoku Dynasty gameplay.
One stream of it we've had. Okay, sure.
I'm that I couldn't say really. I just hang around. I'm a persistent like a bad smell.
When are we blood bowling?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
I managed to lock down Dynamis this week, so
yeah, I'll say
because you bought yourself the big league thing, didn't you, AP? So I've got to give you an impossible uphill battle to win.
An absolute.
So just literally any team at all is gonna overcome me at this point.
Honestly, I liked Lawson's suggestion where you play the Chaos Dwarves.
I'm APGamingREAL. We'll be back in the new year. The new year will come with a crusade as we spill out into the open Sallyport for the gate here. Did I name the gatekeeper? I feel like I'm not going to name him now. He's just going to be the lone survivor.
Didn't you say it was Gwgan, son of
Oh,
Gideon?
Gideon Jr., son of Gideon, yes.
Yes.
Gideon. All right, let me make sure to write that down. He's a pivotal point of view character to have.
If you kept your names, you could have gone and had an affair with my wife, and it could have been the nameless man with the faceless woman.
What is?
That was what I missed. I should have sent him to one of the other castles.
Yeah, for sure.
Unbelievable, sir. He could have had an affair with my wife? What is happening on this show? Oh my god. Unbelievable. So now we know that if you're a Lawson fan, you know that James is into NTR apparently. That's all I'm saying. Gideon Jr. That's it. I'm calling it now. We went way past the line.
We'll see.